Ozzy Osbourne is gone. And with him, an entire era of rock and roll darkness fades into history. This morning, the Osbourne family shared heartbreaking news. The Prince of Darkness himself has passed away at the age of 76. Their statement read, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family's privacy at this time." No official cause of death was given. But in recent years, Ozzy faced a mountain of health challenges. And though we all knew he was struggling, nothing could prepare the world for this final goodbye. Ozzy Osbourne wasn't just a rock legend, he was rock. Unfiltered, raw, and untamed. He was the sound of rebellion. The voice of the outcast. The howling force behind a musical revolution that terrified parents and inspired generations. He was born John Michael Osbourne in Birmingham, England, in 1948. Life from the very start was hard. He grew up in the industrial district of Aston, the son of factory workers, surrounded by smoke, noise, and poverty. He was bullied, traumatized, and at just 11 years old, suffered repeated abuse scars he carried throughout his life. By his teens, he was already in trouble with the law, serving jail time for burglary. Ozzy himself once said, "I was no good at that. But where the world saw a troubled boy, music saw a legend in the making." In 1969, alongside Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, he formed Black Sabbath. The sound they created was unlike anything the world had ever heard. Heavy, sinister, and haunting. Their 1970 debut album sent shockwaves through the music scene. And their follow-up, Paranoid, became an instant classic. It gave us anthems like Iron Man and War Pigs songs that didn't just rock, they shook your soul. They weren't writing pop songs. They were writing about fear, war, injustice, and pain. They were building something new. They were building heavy metal. And at the center of it all was Ozzy. His eerie voice. His wide-eyed madness. His unrelenting stage presence. He wasn't just singing. He was summoning something. But that brilliance came at a cost. By 1979, Ozzy's dependence on drugs and alcohol had spiraled out of control. He was fired from Black Sabbath. Many thought it was the end. But Ozzy wasn't done. Not even close. He launched a solo career with 1980's Blizzard of Oz, and it exploded. With tracks like Crazy Train, Ozzy proved he could rise again. Bigger, louder, stronger. Then came the moment that turned him into legend. Des Moines, Iowa, 1982. Ozzy takes the stage. A fan throws a dead bat. He bites its head off, thinking it's rubber. It wasn't. The world was horrified. Headlines screamed. But for Ozzy, it just added fuel to the myth. He became the ultimate outlaw of rock. He claimed he once bit the heads off 2 doves during a record label meeting. Not out of anger, but as a weird form of protest. That was Ozzy. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Iconic. Through the 80s and 90s, he gave us more hits. Bark at the Moon, Perry Mason, No More Tears. And despite it all, he kept going. But behind the chaos, his body was breaking. In 2003, a horrific quad bike accident nearly left him paralyzed. He stopped breathing for a minute and a half. His wife Sharon later said he had no pulse. Then came more diagnoses. A form of Parkinson's. Surgeries on his spine. Infections. Falls. Pain. And yet, Ozzy kept getting back up. Then something unexpected happened. In 2002, Ozzy and his family stepped into the spotlight again. This time, not on stage, but on television. The Osbournes became a global hit. Viewers saw a softer, funnier, more chaotic Ozzy at home struggling with remotes, swearing at the family dogs, and muttering classic one-liners. He wasn't just the Prince of Darkness anymore. He was Dad. And fans fell in love with him all over again. But even in that fame, demons returned. In 2013, he admitted to a relapse. "I was in a very dark place and unwhole to the people I love most, my family," he said. Still, he fought to be better. For them. For Sharon. For his kids. And for the fans who never gave up on him. In recent years, Ozzy's health declined rapidly. Parkinson's symptoms. Multiple surgeries. The pain, he said, became constant. He grew depressed. In a final interview with The Guardian, he admitted, "You wake up and find something else has gone wrong. You begin to think it's never going to end." But Sharon, ever his anchor, had an idea. On July 5, 2025, just weeks ago, Ozzy took the stage one final time. A concert called Back to the Beginning, in his hometown of Birmingham. There, he reunited with the original Black Sabbath lineup for the first time since 2005. He sat on a throne decorated with bats and performed both solo and Sabbath songs. He told the crowd, "I've been laid up for 6 years. Thank you from the bottom of my heart." It was his final bow. And now, the curtain has closed. Tributes are pouring in. Elton John called him a dear friend and a trailblazer. Lars Ulrich of Metallica said, "We stand on his shoulders. He was the godfather of metal." Fans around the world are lighting candles, blasting Iron Man and crying as they say goodbye. Ozzy wasn't just a performer. He was a survivor, a father, a husband, a warrior, a legend. With Sharon, he built Ozfest, turning metal into a movement. Together, they raised 5 children, Jessica and Louis from his first marriage, and Kelly, Jack, and Amy with Sharon. He wasn't perfect. He never claimed to be. But he loved hard, fought harder, and never stopped giving everything he had to the stage. And now, an era ends. The metal throne is empty. The voice has gone silent. But the legacy, it will echo forever. Ozzy Osbourne's roar may have quieted, but his thunder still shakes the world. Thank you, Ozzy. Rest in power, Prince of Darkness.